On a chilly evening, as a gentle rain began to fall, the glow of the gas station lights cast a warm illumination over the slick streets of Los Angeles. Keanu Reeves, celebrated for his modesty beyond the spotlight, paused to refuel his motorcycle. Everything appeared ordinary until he caught sight of something that caused him to hesitate. A weary young woman, expecting a child, dashes back and forth with visible fatigue. Amidst the struggle of lifting heavy boxes and refueling car tanks, she found herself with hardly a moment to pause and breathe. What Keanu did next rendered everyone at the station utterly speechless and transformed that woman's day entirely. The significance of his gesture is truly astonishing. Prepare yourself for a tale that touches the soul and ignites a spark of optimism. Before we proceed with this narrative, please share your location with us. If you find delight in tales like this, consider subscribing to the channel, as we have another captivating story lined up for you tomorrow. The evening in Los Angeles was serene yet held a quiet sadness. On a tranquil street, a gas station flickered its red and blue neon lights against the glistening asphalt, softened by a persistent drizzle. To many, it was merely a typical stop, but for Emily, that gas station symbolized her very existence. 7 months pregnant, Emily navigated the pumps with resolve, cleaning windshields and checking oil for the rushing customers. Her slender jacket and tattered work uniform provided scant defense against the chill, yet she couldn't allow herself the luxury of such thoughts. This evening's paycheck was crucial for settling another month's rent. Sophia's 8-year-old daughter perched on a plastic chair beneath the station's awning, finding refuge from the gentle drizzle. With her delicate fingers wrapped around a faded red pencil, she meticulously brought to life the pages of an old activity book through her sketches. Next to her rested 2 other pencils, one blue and the other yellow, both equally short. Sophia poured her heart into her work, each page coming alive with drawings that resonated with profound significance. As Emily toiled, the deep thrum of a robust engine reverberated throughout the station. A sleek black motorcycle glided effortlessly to a nearby pump. Keanu Reeves, clad in a sleek black leather jacket and helmet, dismounted with an effortless grace. He took off his helmet, exposing hair that was a bit tousled and dampened by the rain. Keanu surveyed the landscape, absorbing every detail of his environment. His eyes lingered on Emily for a brief moment. He observed how she skillfully cleaned the windshield, her polite smile unwavering for the customers even in the face of her clear exhaustion. His gaze then turned to Sophia, deeply absorbed in her sketching, as though she were crafting something of great significance. Intrigued, Keanu approached the child and peered at her artwork. The scene unfolded with simplicity yet rich in detail. A kitchen alive with the warmth of steaming pots and pans, a central table invitingly set, and a counter that bore a blank sign, hinting at untold stories. Keanu leaned in, his gaze fixed on the meticulous strokes, observing how Sophia's attention was drawn to a particular area of the drawing that awaited completion. "Are you fond of sketching?" he inquired softly. Sophia glanced up for a moment, taken aback by his presence, yet offered a shy nod. "I sketch locations, destinations I long to visit." Keanu beamed. "What is this place?" Sophia paused, glancing over her artwork. She gripped the crimson pencil tightly in her petite hand, contemplating her words. Just as the question hung in the air, Emily emerged, her hands busy with the remnants of her work on the apron she wore. "Sophia, please refrain from disturbing the gentleman," she remarked with a courteous smile. "She's not troubling me," Keanu responded with a sense of tranquility. "I was exploring her illustrations and the destinations she dreams of visiting." Emily shot him a glance that blended intrigue with wariness, but just as she was about to speak further, a car blared its horn at the adjacent pump. "Excuse me," she said, pivoting to address the customer. Keanu paused, observing Emily as she resumed her tasks. His gaze shifted back to Sophia and the incomplete sketch before her. This moment carried a weight that eluded his complete understanding. Keanu's gaze lingered on the drawing, while Sophia meticulously enhanced it with additional details. He couldn't quite place it, but there was an essence to that unassuming piece of paper that felt imbued with more than just mere pencil marks. It appeared to hold a vision, and he was on the verge of uncovering its significance. Emily finished cleaning the final windshield of the evening, though her motions had noticeably become more sluggish. The burden of her pregnancy bore down on her lower back, unleashing ripples of discomfort with each movement. She attempted to conceal her unease, yet every time she leaned down or extended herself to grasp the center of the glass, her expression revealed her fatigue. Once the final customer had departed, she rested gently against one of the pumps, seeking relief for her aching back. Emily inhaled deeply, momentarily shutting her eyes to stave off the tears. The anguish wasn't solely in the body. It was the weight of emotions, the relentless exhaustion that came from nights like these. From afar, Keanu observed but refrained from making his way over right away. He observed her as she straightened her uniform and put on a smile, then turned back to the station counter. Sophia, perched in her tattered plastic chair, glanced up from her sketchbook and sensed her mother's unease. "Are you all right, Mom?" she inquired gently. "I'm fine, sweetheart," Emily replied, a smile tugging at her lips as she settled into the chair next to her daughter. Noticing the uncertainty in Emily's response, Keanu took a step closer. "Excuse me," he said softly, making an effort not to surprise her. "Are you looking for assistance with anything? You appear weary." Emily gazed at him in astonishment, yet her intuition urged her to decline. "I appreciate your concern, but I'm doing okay, just experiencing a bit of back pain. It's a common experience during pregnancy. Normal shouldn't equate to unchanging," Keanu responded with a serene tone, his words infused with a warmth that caused Emily to hesitate. She lowered her gaze, shaking her head as she stared at the ground. "Not much can be done. It's simply a facet of existence." Keanu chose not to inquire further, yet he noticed the way she braced her lower back while seated. He lowered himself a bit, maintaining a courteous space. "Is this a nightly routine for you?" Emily nodded, her eyes locked onto the horizon rather than on him. "I spend 2 nights a week here, and in the mornings I take care of cleaning offices. It's what covers the bills and ensures Sophia stays in her studies." Keanu paused, absorbing the weight of her words. "And when do you take a break?" he inquired gently. Emily released a soft chuckle, lacking any trace of amusement. "Pause? I simply don't have the time for that. With the arrival of the baby on the horizon, the bills are relentless, and I find myself needing to put in even more effort at work. There is no alternative." "It ought not to be like this," Keanu murmured, his voice barely audible. Emily met his gaze for the first time, her eyes brimming with fatigue. "However, it certainly is, at least from my perspective. The decisions I made led me to this point, and I have no grievances. Expressing dissatisfaction yields no benefits." Sophia, having absorbed the moment in silence, gently rested her small hand atop her mother's. "Your efforts mean the world to me, Mama." Emily's expression softened, yet tears began to gather in her eyes. "Sophia, you are everything that counts. Your presence fuels my determination." Keanu watched the interaction between mother and daughter, his heart swelling with compassion for Emily. He understood that this woman was not merely bearing the physical demands of her pregnancy and exhausting work hours, but also the profound emotional strain of safeguarding Sophia and striving to provide her with a life of dignity, even when it felt utterly unattainable. At times, Emily started, her voice trembling just a bit. "I find myself questioning whether I am doing enough. Will she one day reflect on my efforts and see that I fought hard, yet perhaps never truly embraced life? Did I fail to offer her something meaningful, something truly beautiful?" Sophia gripped her mother's hand firmly. "You provide me with all that I need, Mama." Emily smiled, yet a fleeting darkness clouded her gaze. Keanu sensed that she was concealing a more profound truth. "What is the situation with her father?" he inquired softly. Emily paused, caught in a moment of hesitation before she responded. "He walked away upon discovering I was expecting once more." Keanu sensed a constriction in his chest. He expressed that he wasn't ready to take on another responsibility, mentioning that managing one child was already quite challenging. Emily hesitated, her voice wavering just a bit, prompting him to gather his belongings and depart. Sophia gazed at her mother, her eyes filled with sorrow, yet she remained silent. Emily held her daughter's hand tightly, seeking to offer reassurance. "And you?" Keanu inquired gently what happened next. Emily inhaled deeply, aligning her posture with a confidence that felt practiced. "I persevered, for there was no alternative." A car horn blared at pump 2, cutting through their conversation. Emily adjusted her stance and refocused on her tasks. "Pardon me, good sir, but I must attend to my responsibilities." Keanu remained motionless, observing as they departed. He observed a subtle limp in her right foot, the burden of her pregnancy apparent in each motion. His eyes moved back to Sophia, who settled into her chair once more. The girl clutched the red pencil, her gaze trailing after her mother, burdened by a concern that felt far too weighty for someone so young. "Your mom puts in a lot of hours," Keanu said softly, kneeling down to meet Sophia's gaze. Sophia nodded, her small fingers clutching the red pencil with determination. "She weeps occasionally, believing I'm in slumber." Keanu experienced a sharp ache in his heart. "What is the reason behind this?" Sophia spoke hesitantly, her fatigue evident in her voice. "And as Mama always said, Papa departed." Upon discovering the news of the baby, Sophia remarked, her coloring becoming more intense than it had been previously. He expressed that he wasn't interested in taking on the responsibility of another dependent. Keanu stood still, the gravity of Sophia's words resonating deeply inside him. He cast a glance back at Emily and realized in that instant that action was imperative. The challenges this woman encountered and the flicker of hope still evident in Sophia's gaze were impossible to overlook. Keanu lingered beside Sophia, his thoughts swirling in a tempest. He lacked all the answers for now, but one thing was undeniably clear. What he was on the verge of doing would transform everything for them and render everyone utterly speechless. The gentle drizzle enveloped the surroundings, infusing the air with a chill and a weighty presence. Emily pulled her jacket tighter around her shoulders, a shiver coursing through her weary body. Sophia, perched beside her, was busily sketching yet another drawing, but she often lifted her gaze to her mother, as if attuned to the burden she bore. Keanu lingered close, taking in the serene exchange between the mother and her daughter. He found himself captivated by the striking difference between Sophia's radiant innocence and Emily's palpable fatigue, which she tried so hard to conceal, revealing the weight of her battles both physical and emotional. Keanu broke the silence, his voice steady as he said, "I'd like to ask you something." Emily regarded him with a hint of surprise, yet she motioned for him to proceed. "If you were granted a single opportunity, just one, to alter a choice, what would that be?" Emily paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. What appeared to be an easy question held a profound significance in its answer. She gazed at the damp earth, lost in thought for a moment. "I'm uncertain. I believe I've reached a point where that kind of thinking is no longer sustainable for me. When bills are due and children depend on you, there's simply no space for uncertainty." Keanu acknowledged her reluctance with a nod. "I can only assume you've sacrificed quite a bit due to that. Are you considering surrendering? That word doesn't quite fit. It resembles—" She hesitated, sifting through her thoughts for the perfect expression. "Life simply doesn't permit certain things. Dreaming feels impossible when you're just scraping by to cover the rent." Sophia raised her gaze from her artwork and turned to her mother. "Yet you continue to cook, dear mother, crafting the finest lasagna imaginable." Emily let out a gentle chuckle, her laughter carrying a hint of melancholy. "Preparing lasagna in your kitchen and managing a restaurant are worlds apart, darling. Yet you've always dreamed of having a restaurant, haven't you?" Keanu redirected his focus to Emily. She paused, her voice dropping to a whisper as she said, "Yes, that was true in my younger days. Prior to all of this. Prior to Marco." Keanu sensed the gravity in her voice as she uttered the name. "Your husband?" Emily nodded, her eyes locked onto the horizon. "Upon tying the knot, We envisioned the exciting journey of launching a restaurant side by side. He often remarked that I possessed a unique talent, that my passion for food was extraordinary. However, after Sophia's arrival, everything shifted. It became more challenging. Upon discovering I was expecting once more, he departed. Sophia grasped her mother's hand firmly, conveying a wordless sense of solace. Emily took a deep breath before pressing on. He expressed that he was unable to take on another burden, that he was not interested in assuming another responsibility. And then he simply turned and left. Keanu sensed a tightness constricting within his chest. He glanced at Sophia, who was immersed in her quiet drawing, and then at Emily, striving to keep her posture composed. He sat up straight, fixing his gaze on Emily with a grave demeanor. It's possible that you sense a lack of options at this moment. Imagine the possibilities if assistance were at your side. What if a solution existed to alter that? Emily furrowed her brow, a look of doubt crossing her face. Thank you, but I'm not looking for assistance. I'm doing well. I'm not discussing charity, Keanu responded, his tone steady but kind. I'm discussing a chance, a possibility that might reignite your dreams. Emily shook her head, visibly wrestling with his words. What makes it important to you? I am just an ordinary person. Everyone deserves the opportunity to dream, Keanu stated with a serene demeanor. And because you are worthy of thriving, not merely existing. Keanu's tone became unwavering. I shall return tomorrow. Emily gazed at him, caught in a moment of uncertainty about her reply. What is the reason? You deserve more than this, he said, his hand motioning gently towards Sophia's notebook and the surroundings they found themselves in. Looking forward to our meeting tomorrow. As Keanu turned to leave and approach his motorcycle, Emily remained frozen in place, utterly at a loss for words. She found herself uncertain about the weight of his vow to come back. Yet what he would present the following day was beyond anything she could have ever envisioned. The following morning, Emily wrapped up her shift at the gas station and began tidying her belongings behind the counter. Upon hearing the unmistakable growl of a powerful motorcycle engine, she sensed that fate was at play. Sophia, seated next to her drawing, paused and turned her gaze toward the sound. Intrigued, Keanu eased his arch motorcycle into position at the familiar pump, dismounting with a serene smile, his hands cradling two sizable paper bags. He appeared at ease, yet resolute, embodying the essence of someone fully aware of their purpose. Good morning, he said warmly as he drew near. Emily regarded him with a hint of caution lingering in her gaze. You've really returned. I said I would, Keanu replied, his tone matter of fact. He set the bags down on the counter and faced Sophia. Greetings, Sophia. Good morning, Sophia replied with enthusiasm, her gaze immediately captivated by the bags, eager to discover what they held. Keanu glanced at Emily, sensing her uncertainty. Before you speak, I need you to take a look at what's inside. He unzipped the bags, uncovering essential groceries, a couple of fresh outfits for Sophia, and perched atop everything, a flawless box of vibrant colored pencils. Sophia inhaled sharply, her eyes sparkling with joy as she clutched the box like it was a precious gem. Pencils! She exclaimed, holding them tightly against her chest. Thank you, sir. Emily observed her daughter's response, yet her attention remained fixed on the contents of the bag. As she began to articulate her thoughts, Keanu cut her off. I understand your thoughts, he said softly, but this isn't about charity. It's merely a small nudge to help you find your footing. Emily shook her head, struggling to contain her feelings. I'm uncertain about whether I can embrace this. Keanu set an envelope down on the counter. This is available for rent, exclusively for this month, and there's an additional detail to consider. He presented her with a somewhat wrinkled flyer. Emily grasped it and examined the words with great attention. Asterisk culinary program designed for single mothers. She blinked, a look of bewilderment crossing her face. What is this all about? Keanu shared that it's a complimentary cooking course. It explores advanced methods and also addresses the entrepreneurial aspects, should you wish to expand this into a larger venture. Emily glanced at the flyer, then turned her gaze to Keanu, visibly grappling with the unfolding situation. What is the reason behind your actions? You're not familiar with us at all, Keanu said with a slight smile. His expression was both serious and kind, for you are worthy of it, and because occasionally, a single act of kindness has the power to transform everything. Emily inhaled deeply, striving to hold back her tears. I'm at a loss for words. You don't need to respond at this moment, Keanu said. Just take a moment to reflect and remember that there is someone who has faith in you. Sophia, her fingers tightly gripping the pencils, gazed at the flyer her mother held. Mom, could you explore some new recipes similar to those Grandma used to prepare? Emily glanced at her daughter before returning her gaze to the flyer. For a moment, a subtle change appeared within her, a delicate glimmer of hope, however slight. Emily clutched the flyer, casting a quick look at Sophia before shifting her gaze back to Keanu. Still uncertain, yet with a glimmer of determination in her gaze, she murmured, perhaps it's time to take the leap. Unbeknownst to her, the next move Keanu had in store would prove to be even more life-changing. Time had slipped away since that fateful morning. The culinary course Emily had joined not only honed her cooking abilities, but also opened up opportunities she had never envisioned. With every class, she unearthed her love for food, and even more significantly, its ability to unite people. Keanu fulfilled his commitment. In that period, he diligently focused on a grander project. As Emily absorbed knowledge, he networked, sought assistance, and discovered the ideal cozy spot in the community. The atmosphere was straightforward yet warm, the perfect setting for what lay ahead. On a remarkable morning, Emily and Sophia reached the destination, filled with anticipation for what lay ahead. Keanu lingered at the entrance of the building, his signature serene smile gracing his face as he patiently awaited. What is this all about? Emily inquired, her gaze sweeping over the storefront. Keanu moved to the side, unveiling a sign positioned above the entrance. The graceful script proclaimed, ** la cucina della nana. Emily stood still, disbelief evident on her features. She pressed her hand to her mouth, struggling to hold back her feelings, as silent tears streamed down her face. Sophia grasped her mother's arm tightly, her eyes shimmering with enthusiasm. This is your restaurant, Mama, Sophia exclaimed, pulling her toward the door. Emily faced Keanu, her face a canvas of disbelief. Did you really do this? What is the reason? Keanu offered a smile, yet his tone remained earnest. For you, it's well-earned. Your narrative and your abilities are unique, and it's essential for the world to witness them. No one should ever have to abandon their aspirations. They stepped in side by side. The interior of the restaurant was unadorned, yet it provided Emily with all the essentials to begin her journey. A functional kitchen, neatly arranged tables, and thoughtful details reminiscent of her grandmother's restaurant in Italy. Sophia dashed to a cozy corner where a small table awaited, perfect for children to unleash their creativity, adorned with the vibrant colored pencils that Keanu had gifted her months prior. Emily glided her fingers over the surfaces, attempting to comprehend the reality of it all. She glanced at Keanu, her mind racing for the perfect expression. Your generosity has left me at a loss for words. There's no need for gratitude, he said gently. Simply embrace your strengths, create delightful meals, unite others, and share this generosity whenever possible. Days later, the grand opening took place, and the restaurant swiftly transformed into a beloved hub for the community. Emily created culinary masterpieces that conveyed narratives, each drawing inspiration from her grandmother's cherished recipes, while infusing her unique flair. The cuisine was extraordinary, yet it was the passion Emily infused into every aspect that truly distinguished the establishment. On the night of the grand opening, Sophia sat at a table, beaming as she distributed the menus she had crafted with her own hands. Emily stood in the kitchen, crafting a lasagna as the restaurant hummed with laughter and lively chatter. Keanu settled into a secluded table in the corner, taking in the scene around him. As Emily placed a lasagna on his table, she took a moment to sit down, a smile gracing her face. "I never thought I'd find myself in this place," she remarked, her tone brimming with appreciation. Keanu surveyed his surroundings. "Yet you are worthy of it. The creation you've brought forth is truly something that everyone should encounter." As Emily surveyed the lively restaurant, she felt a spark of inspiration reignite within her. Yet, the real change extended beyond her personal journey. The impact of that single act of kindness on her community was just starting to unfold. The scent of deliciously cooked dishes enveloped the space, surrounding the quaint eatery in a comforting hug. Emily meticulously arranged each dish, infusing it with the fervor and dedication she had always possessed. The tables of *La Cucina della Nana* buzzed with the warmth of smiling patrons, exchanging laughter and genuine conversations. It had transformed into something beyond merely a dining spot. It was a realm of bonds, of intertwined narratives, and of togetherness. Sophia, her colored pencils always at the ready, glided between the tables, distributing the menus she had illustrated herself. She delighted in discussing the restaurant, enthusiastically revealing that it was influenced by her grandmother's beloved recipes. Keanu occupied his familiar spot, serene yet undeniably engaged, observing with a contented grin. He understood that the change he was observing went far beyond the lively atmosphere enveloping him. Emily walked over to him, holding a steaming cup of coffee. "You always choose that same table," she said with a teasing smile. Keanu beamed. "This is undoubtedly the prime location in the home. I perceive all that surrounds me." Emily settled into her chair opposite him, her eyes scanning the restaurant. "This is beyond anything I could have envisioned. Every single day, I find myself grateful for everything you've done for me and Sophia. Everything has been transformed." Keanu gave a subtle shake of his head. "You've transformed it all. I merely provided a gentle nudge." She returned the smile, yet her demeanor shifted to one of gravity. "Your impact on us will always be remembered, and I am committed to passing it on to others." Keanu gave a slight nod. "That is everything I could possibly desire. Kindness flows in a continuous loop. This is your opportunity to become a transformative force in someone else's life." In that instant, Sophia emerged at the table, clutching her sketchbook. "Mother, behold my creation." Emily picked up the sketchbook and let out a gentle laugh. The illustration depicted the restaurant, now bustling with patrons, aromatic dishes steaming on tables, and a prominent sign outside that boldly proclaimed, *La Cucina della Nana. "It's perfect," Emily exclaimed, wrapping her arms around Sophia in a warm embrace. Keanu rose, placing several bills on the table. "I believe it's time for me to leave." Emily gazed at him, her expression one of astonishment. "What is the reason? You are involved in this." "I will always be here," he responded, "but this place belongs to you now. Now is the moment for you to continue crafting this narrative." He offered Sophia a gentle smile before making his way to the door, leaving Emily profoundly touched. As Emily observed Keanu retreating, she understood that her life had not merely shifted. It had undergone a profound transformation. At this moment, she stood poised to ignite a change in another's life. What she would choose to do next would unfold as the next chapter in her narrative. A tale woven with bravery, resolve, and the deep impact of compassion. The message I aim to convey through this narrative is straightforward yet impactful. Keep dreaming without end. Visions ignite the spark that sustains our aspirations, even during the toughest times. They provide us with meaning, guidance, and a cause to champion. In harmony with our aspirations, kindness weaves a delicate tapestry that binds us together, a subtle yet powerful influence that changes lives by assuring us that solitude is merely an illusion. Visions and compassion possess the ability to transform the world, not through sweeping actions, but gradually, touching one life at a time, one deed at a time. Embrace them, cultivate them, and share them with others. That's the way we create a more beautiful future for everyone. If this tale resonated with you, we encourage you to delve into additional narratives filled with hope, compassion, and resilience. Tap the screen to maintain the warmth and unveil more.